What up, what up, what up, y'all? It's your boy Jamar.
And I'm Brianna.
And this is the Safe Word Podcast, Season 2.
Episode 4.
Damn. It has been an amazing January part 2 of this 2020 year. Indeed. Honestly, I can't believe that it's already March next week.
Yeah, bro. We're already on the 3rd month. And I feel like it's been 3 days of 2020.
On the contrary, I feel like it's been... Like, January was like a whole year for me, so I feel like we're already in 2021. It's been crazy. With your work and your social life, and, honestly, if you don't take a step back and just vibe and relax and enjoy the moment.
Take a break from adulting.
Play in the sand every once in a while. You're going to realize that time just goes by. And next thing you know, you're back in diapers.
Yeah, you're like 80.
Mm-hmm.
In a nursing home.
Maybe we should make that a topic one day and just talk about just seizing the moment, carpe diem and all that stuff.
Yeah. Another day, though.
Another day. Today, we have 2 exciting questions and topics that we want to bring to the safe space.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And make sure that you are tuned in. Subscribe below. Make sure you leave a comment on your favorite video. And make sure you're using the safe word of the episode. Speaking of, you want to go ahead and let them know what our safe word this week is?
Our safe word is Jimmy Choo.
Jimmy Choo, boo.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be our safe word.
Yeah, by Fetty Wap, I think. I'm pretty sure he made a Jimmy Choo song.
He probably did. I think he did. Yeah, well. Anyway, moving on. Our first question is going to be an interesting one that might be a little divisive, but we really want to know, what's the deal with this? And the question is, should we publicize our good deeds?
Should we publicize our good deeds?
Mm-hmm.
And by publicize, we mean like post it on social media.
Tell our friends and families. Without getting into too much detail, we'll explain in our answers. But the question stands, should we publicize our good deeds?
You want me to go?
Yeah.
No. That's the long and short of it. It's hella short. I don't think we should publicize our good deeds. And I generate my answer from the Bible. I can't remember exactly the verse, the chapter and the verse, but I know in the Bible it does talk about publicizing your good deeds and boasting about it. And it says not to do that. So personally, I believe that if you are doing good and doing the Lord's work and doing good works, that's great. But humble yourself because nobody else needs to know about it. Like, the Lord sees what you do and you'll be rewarded that way. But I feel like if you boast, and even if you're not necessarily coming from a place of boasting, but you're just talking about it, I don't feel like you're going to be rewarded for your work. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's my answer. I personally would say no. I don't think so.
No.
No.
Final answer. Well,
Bam.
Naturally, I disagree.
Of course.
I believe in some circumstances, it's helpful and beneficial to talk about some of the things that you've done. So here's what I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about people who brag and are like, I just spent $100,000 at Toys R Us to give to the kids with, situationships and stuff and all this randomness. I'm just making up stuff off the top of my head. But, people who go and they record themselves like giving a $10 to the homeless person, or like those type of things, or someone who's like, oh, it's me, I'm here on Facebook and I am doing volunteer work here at the elderly center. Like, people who are looking for that type of like oh, that's so nice of you type of comment. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about people who spread cheer and spread good deeds to stimulate other people to do the same thing. And just like you said that there is a Bible verse that talks about your left hand not knowing what your right hand does and whatnot, in the Bible that also speaks about doing good deeds for the sake of doing good deeds and being able to talk about it. As long as you don't sit there and boastfully talk about the good things that you've done for the sake of just bragging about how much better you are as a person. As a matter of fact, a couple weeks ago, Brianna and I went to church, and the pastor talked about it specifically. He said that, when you do good deeds, if you're coming from a position of humility, then it's fine. If you're going there in the sense of, look at me and look what I did for you, then it's wrong, and it goes against what Jesus said. But even if you take it out of, the religious aspect, nobody likes that guy. Nobody likes that person that does something just so that they could tell you that you did it for them, or they did it for you. You know what I mean? And nobody likes that person who's sitting there and preying on someone who's less fortunate just to get their views up on social media. So I'm specifically saying that if you are doing good deeds just to spread awareness of a situation and to hopefully inspire other people to follow suit, then there's nothing wrong with it.
Well, I feel like if you want to spread the word and I guess be an example so other people can do it, I feel like let somebody else do that. Like, let somebody else post about you or let other people know what you're doing. Like, I just feel like you doing it yourself is a contradiction. Like, I don't feel like humbly you can do that. That's just how I personally feel. I
disagree. I think just as fast as people spread negative news, they should be spreading positive news. And sometimes the positive news doesn't get as much air. Sometimes it's easier to spread a negative news source or a meme. And when you have good news, you might be the only one that's actually talking about it. Honestly, even if you I don't know, bought a family a meal, that's something that you don't have to talk about. You can do it silently. But if you did something that's substantial, like pay for someone's tuition, for example, why would you sweep that under the rug?
Why don't you just let somebody else? Why don't you let the person whose tuition you paid for talk about it? Like, I don't feel like you personally need to say that. You don't need it. It's a contradiction to me.
Like I said, it comes from the place of where you're coming from. So, like I said, if it's something where you're stemming from a place of, look at what I've done, then yeah, I think you need to chill. But if it's coming from a place of, look what God has allowed to happen, and I need more people to see how, the power of what can be done when you do good things for other people, then I think there's nothing wrong with it. And there's nothing wrong with mentioning it. Now, you don't have to go into detail and be like, well, I paid $62,000 or blah, 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 blah. But if you're coming from, like I said, a place of humility, there's nothing wrong with me saying, I was fortunate enough to be able to help someone else achieve their dreams. And it makes me feel great. It makes you feel great to give. It makes you feel great to do good works. I'm not saying, again, that you have to be braggadocious and talk about the little things that you do. There's nothing wrong with being silent also, but if it's something that you feel as though is going to brighten up someone else's day, there's nothing wrong with talking about it.
Okay.
What y'all think? All right, comment down below. Comment in the grams. Comment in our post and just talk about what you think. Have you ever been the one that has donated or given or volunteered or whatever and felt as though it was something that you wanted to share? Or are you on Brianna's side and you're kind of like, nobody wants to see that, we want to hear it from the other people, don't be the one to talk about it type of vibe that you're on? Let us know.
Let us know. Okay, well, our next question. Are you ready for our next question?
I think so.
Okay. Our next question. Are you guys ready for our next question? Our next question is, what would you do if your child brought home someone of a different race?
Damn.
I'm sorry, guys. I have to sneeze. Okay, it went away. I guess maybe talking about it. Sorry. Yeah. You want to go first? I had to sneeze. I felt it in my nose, but I guess it went away.
Yeah, when you talk about it. If you talk about it, then it goes away.
It's coming back. Okay, go ahead. Answer the question.
Okay. What was the question? I'm distracted. What was the question
again? What would
you
do if your child brought home someone of a different race?
If your child brought home someone of a different race, what would I do? I mean, here's the thing. I don't have any children yet. Neither do you. But I can speak from personal experience. I have been in situations where I have dated many different cultural backgrounds, many different races. And I specifically remember dating a Hispanic girl and her parents pretty much telling her that she had to break up with me because I was, black. And so I know that there's a hardship that comes with being an interracial couple. I would imagine if I have children, I would do my best to make that person who's coming in feel as welcome as possible, as long as they respect the guidelines of my culture and my household. They don't do nothing crazy. Because, honestly, there's a lot of differences in different races and different cultures. But I believe that you can take a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and you can come up with something beautiful. So, me personally, I wouldn't feel no way about it as long as they respected my house and my child, more importantly. So, that's what I feel.
Yeah, I agree. I honestly don't care who you date. You can date an aunt. And as long as you're happy, I would be, yes, if my child wants to date an aunt.
Okay, let's be honest. If your child is dating an aunt, there's a problem.
You're the problem.
No.
If my child wants to date an aunt, let them be happy. No. But seriously, if they want to bring home someone of a different race, more power to you. I mean, it doesn't bother me one bit. I know I have some friends that would probably think otherwise. And I feel like there's plenty of people out there that would probably think otherwise. Of different white people, black people, Spanish people. I feel like there's always a certain portion of different races that feel that their child needs to be dating someone of their race. Like if you invite someone else of a different race, then it just throws off the whole, it throws off everything. But I don't feel that way. I mean, if you love somebody, you love somebody, and if they're treating my son or daughter right, and my son or daughter, my child is happy with them and they're doing all the good things, then have at it.
Now, the only thing is, it's hard to tell sometimes when you want to be as protective naturally as possible of your child, and sometimes just thinking about it, you can be in a situation where you're not even sure if that person has your child's best interest at heart because of preconceived notions. So sometimes you got to check your feelings at the door. You got to check your bias at the door when you're meeting new people, because you can unintentionally come off a certain way just based off of things that you're used to, and we've talked about it before, but one of the most dangerous things that you can think of or be like is, well, that's just how I am. That kind of mode of thinking is very detrimental. So sometimes, like I said, you gotta check yourself at the door before you meet that person. Agreed. Now, question directly to you: have you ever been in a situation where you've dated someone from a different race or a different background?
Mm-hmm. I mean, not really dated per se, but yeah, I guess we'll say dated. Yes, to your question.
And how was that? How was that for you?
Cool, I guess. Like I didn't think much of it. Like he was just another guy that I was dating. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, I'm dating an Asian person, or oh my gosh, I'm dating a Spanish person. Like it was just, yeah, this is a guy I'm dating.
But did you meet their parents or
no,
their family?
It never progressed that far.
Okay.
Yeah. I've never dated someone of a different race whose parents that I've met, like I've met their family and stuff. Actually, yeah. Yeah.
It's different for me. I've dated, like I said, different backgrounds. I've met, I used to love Spanish girls back in the day when I was in, middle school, high school. Girls. I mean, I loved everybody, but I had a few Hispanic girlfriends, and I had a girlfriend in high school, and I met her family and all that stuff. And for me, it was nothing, because I didn't look at it as anything to be made different. The only exception is, obviously culturally there's some differences, but people wise, I didn't care if you were black, white, blue, purple, whatever. You know what I mean? As long as I found you attractive and you were a good person, then I just leave it up to what happens next.
I know some people have concerns, and specifically like black women. I know that they have certain concerns when it comes to dating like white men, because they're concerned that their white boyfriend wouldn't necessarily know or understand some of our cultural references, or just things that black women go through, like for instance our hair. All the products that we have to buy, and we got to do a twist out, and sometimes it takes 5, 6, 7 steps to get the result that we want, and like they may not necessarily, they're not accustomed to that because they don't know that they don't have our type of hair. So I know that there are some women that I've spoken to before about this topic, and they voice that their main concern is really just that they wouldn't necessarily understand many of the struggles, and also just regular cultural differences between the two of us. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was an interesting take on it as well. And it's true, but also at the end of the day, you can always educate somebody if they don't know. Like if someone that you're dating doesn't know something, and you know how sometimes we like to make fun of white people, but it takes nothing.
I don't agree with that. Just let the record straight. Let's set the record straight. The Safe Word Podcast does not agree in unjustly making fun of a certain demographic. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but some people do. And I feel like it takes nothing to just educate somebody on something that we go through, or something that we know every day as, just basics.
And I think that that's also tying it back to the question, a concern that parents may have when it comes to their son or daughter. If you're dating someone outside of your race, they don't go through some of the same things that you go through. So let's say you're a white family whose child is dating an Asian. Those are completely vast differences between the two cultures. There's certain things that you'd be surprised when you have conversations with random people. You realize there's so many things that you guys have that overlap, but there's certain specific cultural backgrounds that are completely different, and it's probably a little concerning to a parent in terms of, is this person going to be able to understand my child's needs? Is this person going to be able to mesh well with them? Because sometimes, if we're honest, love isn't always everything. Like, love is important, it's the foundation, but two people can love each other and still things don't work out. You know what I mean? So I think that one of the factors outside of love and commitment is also just fully understanding and the willingness to understand the other person's side. And I think that if you're not in the culture, it's a little bit more challenging. It's not impossible, but if you let's say two Hispanic people are gonna probably understand each other a little bit better than if it was a Hispanic and an African. By the same token, two Caribbean people, we come from similar backgrounds, even though she's Jamaican and I'm Haitian. But there's certain things we have much more in common with each other than, let's say, like an Asian and a Haitian.
True.
Yeah.
Well, what do y'all think?
I already know what some of y'all are thinking. Trust me, I already know. I listen to the conversation.
My child better bring home a black. No, I'm kidding.
but honestly, and let's be real quick. So Jimmy Choo, boo.
Oh my God.
Let's be real. A lot of people feel like that. Like, no, I'm raising a black child. My child better bring home a black, a girl or boy.
Why did you sound so country just now?
I'm just saying,
okay?
I'm just saying. I reckon my child.
Ew, hush.
My child better bring home.
Oh my gosh.
No, but seriously though, a lot of people feel like that, and I feel as though black people are more vocal about it. Maybe it's because obviously we hang around that circle, but black people are a lot more vocal about the fact that they want their child to be dating other black people. White people, I haven't overtly heard that before.
I have.
I've heard this. I've seen the subtleties, but I haven't actually heard someone say, I want, I want to keep our genes pure. You know what I mean? So, you said you had?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, personally.
Within the past 5 years?
Yes, personally, my brother, he tends to date white and Hispanic women. I have yet to see him bring home. Well, he actually hasn't brought anybody home, but I have yet to hear about him dating a black woman. Now, he said that he would date a black woman. He's not like one of those guys that's like, oh no, I don't want to date a black woman. I want a white woman. Da da da. He will date a black woman. He just hasn't yet. So, but I do hear some of the stories. Like, he has told me in the past that some of the young ladies that he's dated, their parents aren't too fond of their daughters dating a black man. So, yeah.
I lived it firsthand. And if we're honest, I'm kind of light skinned. I'm kind of light skinned. I can, super. Whatever. I can blend in between the different cultures, and even still, there were a lot of people who felt as though, if you're black, you need to date black people. If you're Spanish, you need to date Spanish people, whatever. But just to put a pin in this conversation for right now, we definitely want to hear what you guys have to say about it. I really feel like this is something that we could even expand upon, in the future, and maybe stimulate some more conversation in person. It's one of those topics that it's never gonna go away. Race relations, unfortunately, as much as I would like it to be dead, the conversation of it and the nuances, I wish that everyone just realized that we're all the same. You know what I mean? But as of now, it ain't going nowhere. So we might as well continue to talk about it, continue to embrace the conversation.
Yep, sure thing.
Yep. Now who sounds country?
I know. I was just thinking that.
Baby, lock them doors and put the lights down low. Anyway,
anywho,
we want to wish you guys an incredible rest of your week.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you continue to follow us at the Safe Word Podcast on Instagram, the Safe Word Podcast on YouTube, and at gmail.com. Okay. And we'll catch you guys in the next episode.